must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
I do order and direct that the nationwide curfew that is currently in force between the hours of 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. daily be and is hereby extended for a further 30 days. Fellow Kenyans, by reopening Nairobi, Mombasa, and Mandera, we must be cognizant of the fact that we are all much more at risk than we were when the restrictions were in place. So we must therefore exercise what I call cautious optimism and avoid reckless abandon. I believe that although the path to recovery is rocky and uneven, it is navigable. And that is why I must give two qualifications to this phased reopening. Firstly, the order to reopen is given conditionally. Should the situation deteriorate and pose a challenge to our health infrastructure, we will have to revert back to lockdown. In the next 21 days, we shall study patterns of interactions and the spread of the disease. Any trends that signal a worsening of the pandemic, we will have no choice but to return to lockdown at zero option. Secondly, fellow Kenyans, this order to partially reopen will only bear fruit if we recognize that this exercise is a shared responsibility. It is my intention that not only shall we reopen as we have done now, but we shall go further in our partial reopening as we go forward. However, I must also be clear that that shall be based on the behavior of each and every one of us individually. So therefore, fellow Kenyans, to reopen and to remain open, you must become your brother's keeper. You must become your sister's keeper. While the government will no doubt do its part to achieve this desired wish of remaining open, you, my fellow citizens, must also do what is expected of you personally in order for us to achieve it. This, therefore, is not just a call to reopen our country, but it is also a national call to civic responsibility. And on this, I must further add that civic responsibility is not a demand placed on self or on the individual by the state. It is not a demand that the state can enforce. It is therefore a duty that you individually owe your fellow countrymen for coexisting with them. It is a voluntary act of goodwill expressed to your neighbors in good times and in bad times. It is a civic duty to defend and protect yourself, your family, and the environment that nurtures you. My national call to you all, therefore, is to minimize unnecessary contact and movement. I encourage all Kenyans to consider delaying non-essential up-country travel. But again, that is voluntary. And I encourage you to exercise extreme caution and fidelity to the correct usage of face masks, hand washing, sanitizing, physical and social distancing, and also your individual concern for the health, especially of the elderly and those who have immune depressed systems, people who are much more susceptible to get a serious case of COVID-19. And you must always remember that there can be no unbearable responsibilities in the face of a crisis as we are in. Going further, and again with the advice of the National Security Council and the National Emergency Response Committee on the coronavirus pandemic, I also further order and direct the following phase measures. That places of worship will commence phased reopening for congregational worship and public, that is, individuals can attend worship, in strict conformity with all applicable guidelines and protocols, including the self-regulating guidelines that have been developed by our friends of the Interfaith Council, protocols and guidelines that I have received from them today. And to mention but a few, that the guidelines issued by the Interfaith Council, only a maximum of 100 participants will be allowed at each worship ceremony, which should not take more than an hour. That Sunday schools and madrasas shall continue to remain suspended until further notice, and in-person worship shall not include congregants under the age of 13 or above the age of 58, and shall neither include persons with underlying health conditions. These guidelines will be shared by the Interfaith Council with their colleagues across the country, And we have said that we need for our places of worship to open in a period that does not exceed 3 weeks after they have had the opportunity to fully engage with their colleagues across the country. Number 4, that following consultations with stakeholders in the education sector and cognizant of the surge in the rate of infections across the country, the Ministry of Education shall jointly, with all the stakeholders in the sector, today, but no later than tomorrow, notify the public on the resumption of the 2020 academic calendar for basic education as well as tertiary institutions. Number 5, that conscious that movement of people is in itself a catalyst for the spread of the disease, there shall be no movement of public transport vehicles into and out of areas previously under cessation of movement restrictions without the public transport providers being compliant with all protocols developed by the Ministry of Health. To operate public service vehicles, the operators will require mandatory certification from the Ministry of Health in consultation with the Ministry of Transport. Number 6, that local air travel within the territory of the Republic of Kenya shall resume effective Wednesday, the 15th of July, 2020, and again in strict conformity with all applicable guidelines and protocols from both the Ministry of Health and our civil aviation authorities. Number 7, that international air travel into and out of the territory of the Republic of Kenya shall resume effective the 1st of August 2020, once again in strict conformity with all protocols from the Ministry of Health, local as well as international civil aviation authorities, and any additional requirements applicable at the ports of departure, arrival, or transit. Number 8, that the prohibition against social and political gatherings of whatever nature is extended for a further period of 30 days. Number 9, that the restriction of the operation of bars to takeaway only and the restriction of the number of persons who can attend weddings and funerals is extended for the further period of 30 days. And 10, that the Ministry of Health, in conjunction with the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, shall establish protocols for the resumption of the importation and sale of imported second-hand clothing. Fellow Kenyans, as we implement the phased reopening, I remain alive to the economic and social challenges facing our country. We know that jobs have been lost and some businesses have closed and many livelihoods endangered. And this, unfortunately, is the sorry state of affairs across the entire world. But history has taught us that the COVID crisis is not the first health disaster with such enormous economic challenges. There were many more before this one. However, we must all be cognizant that those who overcame previous disasters and finished on top did so by first changing their mindsets. Put differently, it is not enough for the government to pump resources into the economy using stimulus instruments, as we have been doing. Such efforts will undoubtedly go to waste if people do not co-create solutions with the government. Those who overcame previous disasters in history did so because they acted as one. The people and their government entered into a joint venture in order to conquer the challenges that they had. This therefore means that for us to revive the economy, reopen and remain open, the government and all citizens must pull together. Today, fellow Kenyans, I've invited you to exercise civic responsibility towards each other. But I do not want you to exercise this responsibility in the fight only against COVID-19. I want you also to have a shared responsibility with government in reviving our economy. And for us to do this, we must first, as I said before, change our national mindset. We have the opportunity to stitch a new national mindset and chart the future that is ahead of us. On June the 1st, Madaraka Day, I set the stage for the change in mindset. And I challenged all of us to reimagine Kenya the way our founding fathers imagined a nation from nothing. And today, we have a much younger population. And I challenge you and will support you to reimagine our economy, our business models as we reopen tomorrow. We must remember that the coronavirus is an invisible enemy. We cannot confront this enemy because we cannot see it. We can only evade it. And invading an invisible army and enemy calls for great imagination. Instead of doing business as usual, therefore, this is a moment that calls us to do business unusual. When we reopen, we cannot use the old maps to navigate the new lands created by this unfortunate moment. We must have the courage to let go of the old ways. We must, together, find new opportunities to face the challenges of tomorrow. Those who will change their mindset and embrace the new normal will be favored by destiny. And I once again particularly encourage our young people to take up this challenge of reimagining our business models, and in this, I promise you my support. We may not have all the capital we need, but the currency of this moment is ideas, and young Kenyans are a flora of ideas. I note, for example, our textile industry has already seized the moment and leveraged on the silver lining presented by the COVID crisis to create opportunities for our fellow countrymen. Owing to this initiative, Kenya is today emerging as a net exporter of PPEs in the region. I applaud the COVID-19 Response Fund for contracting the local industry to produce PPEs for our healthcare workers, and I encourage other sectors of our economy to also reimagine Kenya in this fashion. Turning to another problem, which will be my last point, I want us also to reflect on issues that are occurring on our social front. I am indeed concerned by the increased tensions within our homes. Cases of gender-based violence have increased, mental health issues worsened, and instances of teenage pregnancy have also escalated. I appeal to all our social institutions,
Good morning, Africa. Thank you very much for watching us wherever you are. Good morning, Kenya. Wherever you are in Kenya, in Africa, in the world, in the west, east, west, north of the planet Earth. Good afternoon, good morning. Whichever area, whichever zone you are, in Australia, under, you are very deep out. Coming up in the morning, in the evening, we are already going in the morning. Thank you very much. In China, Wuhan, good morning. In Geneva, World Health Organization, staggering with facts and lies. Good morning. We haven't had anything coming out from there. Good morning. Thank you very much. Amina Mohammed doing her interview today and returning. Good morning, or yesterday, or she has returned already. Good morning, World Health Organization. World Trade Organization, Jesus Christ. Kenya is on the top of the map. Thank you very much. But as we are on top of the map, we want to find ourselves the balance between the top of the map and what is happening on the ground. President Uhuru Kenyatta asked us to be responsible people, members who care for their friends, relatives, friends, family. If there is a need, don't go out. If there is need, tell another friend to tell a friend. Mr. President, we have tried, and we are still trying. But there are some puzzling issues that have come up and that have forced us as Punchline Africa Television to discuss these questions, to find answers. With me on the panel, I will not speak too much. I will be the host and a moderator and injector. Once in a while, I will inject one controversial issue here and there. Miriam will be the softener, the one who will soften the language as we go ahead where possible. And Miriam, thank you very much. With us, let's begin with ladies first. On the panel is Miriam Ogutu, our chief anchor, senior researcher, and a senior newsreader in our Punchline. Thank you very much, Madam, joining us on the panel.
Thank you so much, and a very good morning to you and our viewers and the rest of the panelists.
Miriam is in the headquarters of Punchline Africa Television, miles and miles away from the headquarters, and all of you are welcome on this show. In the right-hand side corner, we have Professor Onyari. Professor Onyari is a champion of the church. He's also a professor in conflict resolution and political science, and his subject is redemption strategy. He wants it so much. Yesterday, the president had him about Sudan. I think he heard your voice. He said, let's encourage Sudan and let's encourage peace. Welcome to the show, Professor Onyari.
Thank you, Dr. Masanga, Miriam, Samson, and Daniel Wesonga, my fellow panelists, and our viewers.
In the bottom corner is Oromba Samson Onyango from Kisumu. Thank you very much. He's a student of political science from Maseno University, also our analyst of the legacy trend, right from Kisumu, and one of those in the deterrent group. We have a deterrent group for Africa. Thank you very much, Oromba Onyango. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Miriam, fellow panelists. Good morning, viewers. Welcome all the way from Kisumu.
Thank you very much. Last is the man himself, Daniel Wesonga, an investigative journalist, undercover operator of Punchline Africa Television, a man who could sneak in and sneak out and sneak out and upside. Thank you very much. Broadcaster himself on Radio Punchline Africa and a writer in so many of the social media platforms. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
A very good morning, Dr. David Matsanga, Professor Gerald Onyari, Miriam Ogutu, Alomba Samson, and our esteemed viewers in the country, the continent of Africa, and across the globe. A very good morning.
Thank you very much, viewers. Now we are set to go. Our topic that faces us this morning, as you can see from what we have put forward, is a very interesting topic. I'll request Miriam to read it very nicely so that we, I am not a very good reader of English language, but a very good writer of English language. So Miriam, read for us our topic this morning on COVID-19 in Kenya.
Right, so our topic this morning is what other ways can Kenya fight COVID-19 given the surge in infection numbers?
What other ways can Kenya fight COVID-19 given the surge in the numbers that we have seen of late? Since the president opened up the space, removed the restrictions, the numbers have surged. Remember, Kenya has only done a great job, and what he has done is very simple: to give guidelines, to help to contain the disease, to arrest the disease from the airport where it came from, to put it out, extinguish it. Has it done it? Has it not done it? We want now to go deep in the topic and see whether it was good for removing restrictions, whether restrictions will come back. Our first question to the panel, it goes very candidly, and this is, and candidly bring up the motive of what is really happening to this situation. I want us to ask one candidate question, which is very clear, and that is, the question is, one, how can the government address the community spread? How can the government address the community spread of COVID-19 effectively? My question goes to ladies first, and Miriam.
Right, so thank you so much. So how can the government address the question of community spread effectively? I think the government has tried to put the community health workers, I think in this show we pleaded and we asked, as much as the government is thinking of sending some people to self-isolate, we know how, a lot of these people who have been affected, they may not even have the luxury of having an extra room where somebody can go and self-isolate. So we, even the government, I think, has recognized that as the major challenge. But now, the COVID-19 is spreading very much in the community as it is right now. So I don't know if the measures the government has put in place are really enough, or maybe it needs to increase the community health workers and ensure that they're able to keep up, not just place them and assume they're doing their job, but there should be somebody who is there monitoring even the community workers to ensure they're actually following up on the patients that have been sent home to self-isolate and are doing the right thing. So we need a monitoring body to ensure that these people who have been mandated to take that very important responsibility are actually doing that.
Thank you very much, Miriam. We need to find out how we can address, are we ready in the counties? Are the counties ready? Are the counties able to function without guidelines? How many people are going in the counties with the disease from where the restriction are taking place? Onyari.
Yeah. On the issue to do with the lockdown, you know my stand. When we were 3, 4, 5 cases, we rocked the economy. So what we need to do, with the increasing numbers, we should be thinking of revisiting back. And the president had given a rider that within 21 days, he will do something. The counties, Dr. Masanga, are here prepared to handle the corona pandemic. My recommendation is, I've said this before and I'm echoing it, let us declare COVID-19 a national disaster and return some of the functions of fighting coronavirus from the county so that the government can be on top of it. That way we can be able to slay this pandemic, and we cannot allow the counties to go and implement. They are ill-prepared and not very ready. To my county like Nyamira, so far from March up to now, they are only having 20 beds. So some counties were not prepared, and now that the country has been opened, we are seeing people transporting this virus to the countryside. So the counties are not prepared. The government should step in and do something.
So the counties countrywide are not prepared. The same, Miriam had the same point. He said, reproduction is growing. Reproduction is growing. In the villages, people have driven their cars that way and they have come back. Today, the aircrafts are sending more out from Kisumu back to Kisumu, Kisumu to Nairobi, Nairobi to Mombasa. Samson.
Yes, Dr.
The same question. The same question
I got your question right.
Yes.
Now I want to say that as a county right now we are in a hole, and when you are in a hole you stop digging. For me, the eye of lifting the session, I don't think it was well informed. In fact, we as a country need to escalate those stringent measures to even include a total lockdown. Inter-county cessation needs to be introduced because we are geared towards the peak of this particular pandemic. We are told that the peak will be there in August or October. So as we head towards that particular point, we need to escalate all these measures, including recession, introduce a lockdown, so that we arrest the whole menace once and for all. And again, we need to reassess our capacity at the county level. Are we really ready to undertake the rising cases of COVID-19 in our county? A county, for example, like Kisumu has only 30 isolation beds. What if the cases rise to 1,000? So really, I want to echo the sense of the two panelists. We need to, we really need to assess our capacity going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We need to assess the capacity. Daniel, let's move on. I think we are doing very well on that one. Let's move on. And Miriam will take some notes as we move on, and she will be the one to summarize for us. Thank you very much.
Yes, Dr. Matsanga. From my part, I'll take I'll add the icing on the cake and propose that we need to have decision making for the public good when you are doing all these things. We are fighting this pandemic. So the action taken to mitigate the effects of COVID-19 virus have so far highlighted the flaws of our healthcare system and public approaches. So as a government and our healthcare officials prepare for combating this disease and ensuring that normalcy is brought about, the precautionary principle should be, I think, should be front and center. All policy decisions should be made with the public good as a foremost consideration, even in the face of the continuing uncertainties. A while back, I remember you talked of these community care where patients are referred back to go to their community for self-isolations. They have to do the consideration that we do have people who are living in Kibra, we do have people who are living in Korokocho, we do have people who are living in Lavington, Kileleshwa, Westlands, and all that diversity. We have to look at the gender, mobility, housing. We have to look at the transportation and other health issues before we can be able to implement these strategies to combat this pandemic. So the way forward for overall health needs to apply a precautionary principle and focus primarily on the prevention of illness and disease spreading. So that is what we need to do. So let's set up those infrastructures based on in that capacity, because I believe at one point in time we will have such a large number of people who have tested positive that our institutions will not be able to accommodate all of them. So if we put such measures in place, it will mean that going forward in future, we will not have a crisis of that nature, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much. All of you agree that there is a need for the county, countrywide, for us to be prepared, to start reviewing how far the counties are prepared. And I think we have talked about the counties here time and time again. Miriam, there is an issue of the upside. Yesterday you saw the figures which you read for us. They were high, and they are going to be higher as we go towards the peak. As people have these 21 days, as people travel from today, open up from Kisumu to Mombasa by air, from Mombasa to Nairobi, to other parts of Kenya. How prepared are the hospitals? We see Kenyatta National Hospital closed for testing, Bagathi closed for testing. How prepared are we? And we have started now air travel, which was one of the things that sparked our coronavirus. How prepared are we, Miriam?
rather, how can the government prepare for the upsurge of coronavirus? And Doctor, you've rightly put it, these 21 days, I think, will be the most trying time in terms of the spread of COVID-19 in this country. And no doubt, after 21 days, we'll see even a higher number, because right now, when you go to the roads, the traffic is back, and a lot of vehicles, buses, minibuses are coming from the up country and are also traveling back, taking people to the up country. So, people are moving out of the city, and those who are locked in the countryside, they're traveling back to the city. So after 21 days, no doubt these figures will go up. So just a few suggestions that perhaps the government should look at, even as it prepares for an upsurge of COVID-19, because that will be inevitable. One, the government has to boost its communication strategy. It has to change the way it has been packaging this messaging to the people in a manner that will encourage people to adhere to these measures that the government has put in place. It has to change the strategy and the packaging of the message, because we have noted with quite concern, and we keep saying it here, there is a difference and there is a disconnect in the manner in which the government is giving out the information and how people are receiving this information. There has been a disconnect, and that's why you've seen, even with the efforts the government is putting in place to ensure that this information is out there, we still see people not really receiving it in a manner that they should be receiving it. The second point is the government has to fast track procurement for immediate for the health workers. We've seen, like, the cases of Pumwani and other areas. Now the doctors and the nurses, they're coming out, and these are very important people during this time of COVID-19. So the government has to fast track the procurement for immediate health needs and make sure that our nurses, our doctors, and the people on the front line, they've been taken care of and they're okay, because even as we expect for this upsurge, we have to take care of our health workers. Otherwise, nobody will be there to take care of these numbers that are expected to go up. The next thing is ensuring that our hospitals are well equipped. We know we're having a problem with our hospitals in the manner in which a lot of them lack so many things. And I think there was a demand, not even a requirement, there was a demand from the national government that all counties are supposed to, by right now, have 300 bed capacity. Has the government been able to go through and ensure that these counties are prepared in that manner to meet this need should there be an upsurge of cases? And also get the police involved. I mean, we talked about that yesterday. It is about time that the police become very not aggressive to the point where people will be hurt, but to make sure that people are able to adhere to social distancing rules, especially when they're in public. And also something else, set up hand washing stations across major towns and cities and bus stations and things like this, because right now the matatus, they don't care anymore. Those hand washing points they used to put there, they are no longer there. So the government should take it. If it is the county government of Nairobi, then NMS should take up the responsibility to ensure that they're setting up washing hand points in all major markets and public places that will ensure the spread of COVID-19 is curtailed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. You have raised very serious points. One of the points you have raised is healthy workers. They need equipment to be equipped, well equipped. How can the government help the health workers to be equipped? Two, equipment to hospitals, police to come in. We have talked about police coming in. We have talked about how social distance should be enforced by law agencies, but law agencies themselves break the law. So we want to see who is going to police who. Look at the way the entire thing was, misused. Roadblocks. Where even people were paying money to enter, to go through the roadblocks. So let's look at that. And Professor Nyali, Miriam raised very key issues. Our hospitals, our airports, are they ready? Are they ready to receive the surge, the upsurge? The numbers are growing up. We are flying today. We are bringing people from Kisumu. And the people from Nairobi are going to Kisumu massively. 5 flights, 10 flights. Mm-hmm. As you enter those flights, you could be tested. But when you arrive in Kisumu, the temperature becomes higher. It doesn't mean that you are now free once you have the certificate. So what measures do you think the government can improve on as they open up the facilities. Prof.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I entirely and totally agree with Miriam that the government should not spare putting more resources and more efforts in fighting this pandemic, more especially to the health workers. And as much as you want to do now, you brought a very good element and discussion yesterday saying how Uganda has managed. So what Kenyans should do should be able to learn what have other countries done to contain this pandemic. One, now that we have opened the country, what should be, you don't travel to another county without having been checked and certified that you can travel. And I want to give a very good case study of the county of Kisii. What they were doing during the time for the lockdown, if you have come from Nairobi, if you have come from elsewhere, these are the people to report you. That so and so has arrived here, he has not been checked, he should go for quarantine. So what we should do now, we should have more massive campaign against COVID-19 and then. Yes, we have done the campaign, but more of the massive campaign ought to be done. I have recommended that as you travel from Kisii to Nairobi, from Kakamega to Nairobi, from Mombasa to Nairobi, you must be able to have a certificate that you are COVID free, and as maybe perhaps you get it on board. Going on board is another subject, but we should ensure that you don't travel having not ensured that you are safe. Having said that more resources have been put in place, and the president did say that we should be our brother's keepers. And even the Bible said that you either choose life or choose death. COVID-19 is life and death. So more of the awareness needs to be put on people, more resources need to be set aside, and perhaps the strategies which we have tried, if we find that they are not working, it is high time that if you find that it's not working, if it's not working, you fix. And if it is working, we enhance.
We are coming there, Professor. We are coming on the strategy data. Samson.
Yes,
Miriam raised the key issues.
Yes.
Health workers are complaining. They don't have enough equipment. Worldwide, the equipment is not enough. Testing kits.
Yes.
Hospitals are. Magafi is closed for testing. I am told Kenyatta National Hospital, you can't get tested there. People are having a dilemma on what to do. What do you think can be done? Today we are opening, you have seen Kisumu Airport and Jomo Kenyatta Airport, people leaving. The first flights have just left. One has landed here and another one landed there. The Minister of Tourism, one of the correspondents there has just called me, said they are just flagging off another flight. How possible is it for the three components that Miriam mentioned up here? How prepared is the government in case the surge becomes bigger than what we have now?
Thank you, Doc. In my view, I think taking the health function to the counties was a mistake that we did. Our counties are mad with wrangles and politics of the counties, jeopardizing service delivery in a sense. I think for me, in my view, I propose that the health function should be taken back to the national government, to the executive, so that it be look at the case of Nairobi County. In a span of let's say one month, the county has changed because most of the functions are taken back to the national government. So, in my view, the health function should be taken to the national government.
In short, you think the taking of the health ministry to the developed units of the counties is what has brought about this confusion of the surge of numbers?
Not really. You see, in our county,
That's
for
the
example,
subject we are on, Aromba. We are
Yes.
on that subject, the surge of numbers currently. That's what we want to talk about. What do you think? You are in Kisumu. The aircrafts have just landed. They are bringing you more people from Nairobi. Nairobi people are here. The aircrafts have come. Mombasa people are here. The aircrafts have come. What do we do if the surge becomes big? That's the question.
yes, I think already we've got the protocols, we have got the rules to be followed during this particular pandemic. But the problem, there are those officers, security officers, who are being bribed by the citizen to have them flout those particular rules. So in a sense, we can have movements, but if they are not controlled, if we don't have men and women who are capable enough, who cannot be bribed, I think it will go a long way in curbing this particular man.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. Miriam
Yes,
raised police must be involved. Miriam said equipment in the hospitals not available, not enough. The health workers not well equipped. The surge has come up. What can the government do?
Yes, first of all, I'll start with the point that she mentioned about awareness, packaging the message. We need to educate our people to come out without fear of being stigmatized and be able to be tested and know their status, COVID status, even before they travel, because that is the only way they'll know that they are safe to be able to mingle with other citizens. Number two, on the issue of the equipment, you remember, Dr. Matsanga, when we reported the first few cases of COVID-19, we didn't even have face masks. We were expecting to get them from China and other countries outside the African continent. But they say that necessity is the mother of all inventions. And because we had a necessity then, we were able to start to manufacture our own face masks. And now, of course, recently you saw that we have artisans, Juakali artisans, who can be able to make good isolation bed. So let's maximize on that. Let's maximize on our own entrepreneurs, young people who can do such kind of jobs, so that we get these equipments here locally and with a much cheaper price. That one we shall be able to even get the PPEs. We get the isolation beds, the masks, the sanitizers, and all the equipments that we are lacking right now in terms of fighting COVID-19. So that is the route that we should take. Let's motivate young people to be innovative, our own industries, to manufacture these things so that we can get them cheaply. And number three, in terms of the enforcement, I think it is high time we lobbied for the police force and other security agencies to be a bigger part of fighting and maybe helping the citizens to implement the measures that have been put there. Because one thing about Kenyans, we as a people like to be pushed. And if we are not pushed, then we will continue acting normally. And this could be quite a disaster for our own national security in terms of healthcare. So I think the police and other security officers should be brought on board, and the government should reinforce on that, so that people are observing these rules, people are observing social distancing. Institutions like airports, hotels, restaurants are enforcing these guidelines that have been given by the government. Otherwise, we shall be plunging into a state of confusion, because the airports have opened, the restaurants have opened, bars are open, some churches are open. If you don't follow the rules, then it's going to be a disaster. So I support the enforcement of the law by the security agencies. And secondly, also on the issue of equipment, let's be innovative. Let's do those things here locally. And number three, as I summarize up, let's educate our people about these COVID-19 and package the message appropriately, so that it resonates well with the masses.
Thank you very much. Let's come back. You have mentioned quite a number of issues, but I want to come down and go into another aspect. the preparedness is still the key point here. We are not yet done with it. The panel has not brought out for me how prepared we are, because we are already in the mix. Yesterday we received 497 cases. Today we are receiving, we don't know yet. Okay, we are opening, aircrafts are coming in. There are three components that the government put forward: security, counter-government, and national economic business response committees. Let's begin with security. And let's see how far these committees have worked. How much? Is there anything that is? Why are we still crying of PPs? PPs. We are looking for them. Why? The panel. Why is Kenya still crying for the kits, testing equipment? Is it there are some places where people have not received masks up to today? Some people are saying the governors have not given them masks. Is there something that is not right? Is there something that is not right? And Miriam, when answering this, look at the committee that was set up to raise funding. How far has this committee gone? Why are we not sourcing for other alternatives to bring in materials, to bring in testing equipment, reagents, all this that help to test COVID-19? We have now allowed, remember Kisumu is a connecting point. There will be visitors coming from Uganda. You cannot stop them walking across quietly. The border is closed, but somebody will walk and get a matatu from Busia to Kisumu, use the plane to come here. They want to do their business and then go back to Kisumu, get a taxi, go to Busia and walk across. That's going to happen. How prepared are we? And in the committees that are setting money, how much? Where are we? Do we have any, like other countries are parading each and everything? Are we having all these things paraded to us?
Yeah, I think yes, your first question was on security and how prepared are we, because when President Uhuru Kenyatta was forming this committee, he formed about 3 of them, and the first one was to look at security preparedness and response working group, and this is being headed by the Defense CS, Monica Juma. And so you've raised a very important and crucial thing there, Doctor. Yes, it is very easy. Our borders are porous as much as we are under lockdown, and the borders are now supposed to be locked, but we know in the reality things are different. So how can we enhance security as a country and to ensure that only people who are okay, only people who are healthy are able to board our planes, are able to travel? Now that the travel restrictions have been lifted, and now that, as much as the government is hoping that is what is happening, the CS of of health is hoping that is what is happening. But we've seen our security officials; they have been the ones who have been conduits, who have been even aiding in breaking some of these laws. And if at all the police were really doing their jobs in this during the restriction, and they're not allowing people to go who are not supposed to be leaving Nairobi especially, perhaps some of these cases we are seeing in the counties we will not be seeing. But because the law enforcers themselves, a few characters in there have just refused to do the right thing, and so now we see they're creating another insecurity for the rest of us. So I think on that part, the security agents in this country must do the right thing by Kenyans. And if you've been given a responsibility to ensure this is what you're supposed to do, can you please just do that for your own sake and for the sake of the rest of us, because you have the responsibility to ensure people obey law and order. So in that regard, I think as much as if we were to look at this group and how they have performed, I think they have not done the best that Kenyans would have expected them to do. So they need to do much more.
Yes, Professor.
When it comes to security, our president has once, not twice, but several times said that security starts with you. And the sooner we see COVID-19 as a national disaster, as a danger to our lives, the better. So in terms of security, we will have very bad evils, but it should be our responsibility now to ensure that we, in terms of security, the people who are endangering, the people will be using the panya routes the way you have said, from Busia to Kisumu to Nairobi. I have recommended that one time I was going to South Africa and I did not have the certificate for Eurobox. I was not allowed to travel. So as much as we are using that kind of panya routes to travel and this kind of, let us have this certificate to travel. I am persuading my panelists and the people listening to me that the people who should travel are people who are safe and who have been certified safe. And when you reach in the final destination, if we make this one mandatory and it sinks to people, it will work. So in terms of security, in terms of the strategy which I've done, there are some things the government can do, but there are some things that we can do to enhance. Dr. Masanga, let me tell you, when NAC came to power in 2003, I saw in my own with my own eyes that the system had some powers to arrest you. And in fact, even if the policemen were having some bribes and if they see where they were 90, they will run away. So this is the kind of awareness that people want to know that this coronavirus is a danger and we cannot leave it to the government to fight alone or the police. All of us should be involved.
Okay, thank you. Let me change the whole subject because I see people are about to sleep. Let me bring this. Can we do mandatory testing? Anybody can answer now. Let's change the mood. Can we do mandatory testing? Because this is now a question for everybody on the panel.
Yes, Dr. Matanga, if I could just come in.
Put on the buzzer. Let's be very honest. And we do, time has come because I see you people. No. We are going to the book of lamentation. We are lamenting. What can we do? What can we do? Well, let's not go to the book of lamentation. Let me change the whole thing. Let's do this.
Yes, Dr. Matsanga, one thing I will advocate for, the only way as a country can be able to know the severity of this pandemic is by doing mass testing. And of course, we have to start by telling our people, packaging the message.
Mass testing and mandatory testing.
Yes. So
now, telling me the difference. We have changed the subject. I'm not following these questions. Now we are on it. You tell me what we can do. Do Kenyans listen to President Uhuru Kenyatta when he cried out, please help a friend? Do you listen? Why is it that there is no single person in Uganda who has collapsed? And Uganda has got only 43. William, do the mathematics there. Do the mathematics. 1,028. 984.
I think it is only noble that the government enforces some kind of mechanism where there will be mandatory testing for people to move around, for people to access some particular services in public places, so that we are able to assess the severity of this pandemic. So I'm of the opinion that a mandatory testing, it shall come a time when we shall need that mandatory testing for the people in this country.
Can I add my voice?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, it's a free question. It's a free fall. Professor, don't hesitate. Don't wait for me to call on you. If you keep quiet, the panel will take. Another one will take it. Yes.
Yes, Dr. You asked if we can do mandatory testing. I think mandatory testing is very possible. You remember last year we had an Oduma number initiative. It went on smoothly. and it was partaken by almost 90% of Kenyans. Last year we also did a census, a national census. It went through successfully. So mandatory testing, and then later on we issue certificates to individuals so that if you meet somebody, you are so sure about his status and your own status. It is possible, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody?
As much as I'm persuaded to go for mandatory testing, do we have the ability? Do we have the capacity?
No, we are coming there first.
No.
No, answer the question. We do mandatory testing. Dear Professor, we have been lamenting.
No, fine. I'm building my case. I am for the mandatory testing, but we have the ability to do it. So what we need to do, we need to change the attitude, the thinking. We have said that what Kenyans have not done is they are seeing this thing as a joke. Who tells you, doctor, you can have mandatory testing today, but you can get it the following minute. So what we need to do, we need much of the awareness that people need to understand that this pandemic is really, and the people need to arrest people who are careless. What I'm trying to say that you need to find someone who's wearing a mask and you simply wait like that. We should find in a way of just reporting this person is a check. Simply, if we follow the protocols which have been given, wash hands, keep distance, don't be in a crowded place. What do you do when you find the people in a crowded place? You just walk as if nothing happens. So it is high time that Kenyans will take change. But I am for mandatory testing if resources will be afforded to do that kind of work.
Miriam?
All right, yeah, mandatory testing, but also, Doctor, now questions are being asked about some of these testing bodies. Like, for instance, there's a story today on the Daily Nation where Lancet Kenya is once again on the spot over discordant COVID-19 results of 17 teaching staff of St. Andrew's School, Turi, who tested positive and negative 3 days later. So they tested these teachers, 17 of them, and they all turned positive. But when they went to have their test done again at Cambry, they tested negative. So now, when we have all this conflicting information, then perhaps now a government should start looking at who should be mandated with carrying out these tests, because when Kenyans read such news, they'll be like, so how can I even trust, why should I even go for this mandatory testing? Why should I go if these results are conflicting like this? Where is the truth? So I think the government, this is something that has been happening, but I think it has been brushed off to the side. A government should start looking at this very, very, keen, even as we encourage Kenyans to go for testing. Where should Kenyans go to get the authentic test? Because Lancet Kenya, this is not the first time. So should it be left for Cambry to ensure that we have authentic results, or should everybody else be able to do this testing? Because we've seen people go to sometimes Nairobi hospital, they get different results. They go to another hospital, they get different results. So who should be doing this test, Doctor? I think also this is very important, even as we fight this COVID-19, and we encourage more people to go for these mandatory tests.
Okay, that's a great point you are making. Because that goes back to your first point you made. Communication, enough education surrounding the entire behavior, mindset, discipline, sense of hope. Is there a sense of hope? And this is a question to all of you. Is there a sense of hope from the communication you receive on a daily basis? We started with sense of hope. And the Professor, I agree with your word. Your word that, okay, is there enough facility? But at the beginning, we had a sense of hope. Mutahi Kagwe inspired the hope.
Yes.
Compared to Sisili Kariuki. If she had been there, we would be in a hopeless situation. I am always frank speaking man. At the beginning, Miriam, every Kenyan was said, I think we are going to hope, we are going to fight this disease.
He inspired a lot of hope in us.
There was a lot of inspiration. And let's talk freely now. A lot of inspiration was put in this whole thing. Now that inspiration is oozed out. The word is oozed. Imeenda. I think I'm correct by English people on the panel.
Yes.
It has oozed. Imeisha. The blood is gone. People have gone back to say, You see, when you see an African say, then we have a problem. Because inspiration is not there. The mistakes that medium has just said, the 17 people who tested, then they went to somewhere, and those mistakes killed the credibility
and trust
of the message.
And trust that Kenyans have heard.
The trust
so
that
they don't
Kenyans
trust in the
had.
process, yes.
When the CS of health came up to tell us that they are thieves, corrupt people were in the Ministry of Health, the ones that Professor Onyali wants to grab by the neck, that they are there. We were told they are there. He even looked up and said, up here, there is a problem, a mafia group. Now, the spirit that we had at the beginning has gone. We are now in the books of lamentation, the books of Exodus. There is numbers. If you go by the Bible, we are in the books of Numbers. We are going to see huge numbers. Huge numbers rising up. Now, what can we do now? Because if you go across in the land of Matoke, Miriam has got the figure which is remaining in the hospital. What is the figure?
I think about 56 right now.
56 people only for the last 4 months coming to 5 months. They are left in hospital, not even in a bad condition. If you go to Kwale, Kwale has no patient in hospital. Are we together here? Kwale County has no patient in the hospital. But it is a cross border between Lunga and Tanzania. Tanzanians are walking across, Kenyans are walking across. Taveta, which is near Tanzania. How many cases are in Taveta? We are trying to unravel the mystery here. And the people don't tell me that you don't know. Bungoma. How many cases are in Bungoma Hospital? Kitale. How many cases? Busia. How many cases? Because we are trying to isolate a problem. We want to find out where the problem is. Why is this pattern different from this pattern? Why is it so? Meona, in Kwale, there is no patient. Across the bridge, the place where we used to hammer, hospitals are even calling for patients. In Tanzania, yes. Yes, and nobody should tell you a lie, because there is evidence now. In the pictures also, where hospitals are empty. And these are the people not wearing masks. What is this magic that God has only been bad on us? And in this particular area, is there something like Nairobi, which is so big in Nairobi, that Nairobi as a city is producing more? Reproduction rate in Nairobi is so high. And these are the areas that the government should seal now. Have a permanent lockdown. Even a lockdown between CBD and the Runda and the Karen. Let's have a lockdown inside. Then we do that mandatory test. I want to suggest one thing, and I leave the panel to say whether I'm right or not. What about if we went county by county and say this week we are sealing in Nairobi and bring all the kids wherever they are? We want now mandatory from Monday to Friday. We want people in Nairobi to queue out and see what we have got here. Because there are some spots that are not very bad off. But Nairobi seems to be growing in numbers every day. Therefore, can we concentrate, change the strategy, which Professor said, change the strategy. The project has gone in highway. Imeanguka mutiani. Project hiyo imeanguka. Ala. Wachana. Jeuza barabara strategy. Ndio ufike huko. Jeuza barabara. The people are not disciplined. The people are not washing hands. The people are not sanitizing. Jeuza barabara. Isn't that what you think, Pano? Anybody can start. The finger on. Let me start with Songa. He looks very agitated.
Yes, Dr. Matsanga, I think it is high time we went back to the drawing board and got a new approach in tackling this COVID-19 pandemic. And as we talked yesterday, we need to go to countries that are recording low numbers like Uganda. We need also to compare notes with Tanzania and the rest of our neighbors and see what is it that we are not doing, that you guys are doing, such that you have this and that number. Perhaps there's something, there's a can of worms somewhere that we need to open a Pandora box so that we untangle all these paradoxes in Kenya. So my opinion is that we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to see why we are having such numbers. We need to know why we have high number of deaths than even Uganda. So that is something that I really concur with you, Dr. Matsanga. Going to the drawing board is no option at this moment, because when you look at Uganda, things are pretty well. They seem to be doing quite well. Low numbers, low deaths reported. Tanzania also, we expected that we're going to be having some very, very gross pictures coming from there, of course, everywhere. But this is not the case. So really, we have to go back and reevaluate and be able to ask questions, to benchmark with them, and now forge a way forward on tackling this.
Dr. Masanga, allow me to echo the sentiments of Dan. There need to be a serious benchmarking both within our country and across the world. Like, for example, for a county like Kwale to record zero cases, and vis-a-vis Nairobi, there is some that county government of Kwale is doing that is not being done in Nairobi. For us to record maybe 5,000 cases, Uganda close to zero, then there is something they are doing that you're not doing. So benchmark at this time is something that we really need to embrace so that we be at par with the of the country. Thank you.
Miriam?
Yes, Dr. Masanga.
Yes.
One of the things that I need to sing among the Kenyans here is we should be able to learn to live with the virus side by side. And let me tell you, in Kenya, we are progressively doing very well because we are able to test. The more numbers we are testing, the more numbers we are getting. There are some places, and what can only inform us and tell us is a study. How many numbers are Tanzanians testing in a day?
They're not.
And they'll be able to test 6,000, and we test 6,000, and we see the outcome. So be it as it may, let us learn to live with this virus. What we need to do to live with this virus? Wash hands, keep distance, go outside when it is necessary. These things should be able to sing among the Kenyans. There are some instances I have been saying in this show that if the police cannot be able to implement the protocols which have been put in place, it is high time that the wananchi takes a step forward and implement this. See, for instance, when we have vigilante groups, there are some areas where we have had insecurity because the police becomes part of the insecurity. So what I'm trying to recommend, where we can test people, they find they are negative. What do they do when they found that they are negative or positive? So what we need to do, still involving these people, telling them coronavirus is dangerous, it is killing. That is the way to go. And the government should continue to ensure that there is mandatory. And wherever you want to get these services, you should have been tested. To me, that's how I feel. But we need to do the changing of the attitudes. For example,
in short, Professor, you are saying tugeuze barabara.
That is the essence. We should be in charge.
Yes, change the barabara to find like what we did in Kibaki. Kibaki days, people would arrest you for corruption.
Yes.
And hand you over to the courts, although the courts were corrupt. Still, people could hand you over. Time has come in Uganda. People arrest you when they smell some corona. They arrest you.
That is the language.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has been telling people slowly, help your friend. No. Change the strategy. Change the strategy. People are not hearing here, Miriam. They are not. In fact, people go to the Facebook and even now imitate how the president talks. Have you seen why I'm bringing in this point? They imitate how Uhuru talks. Fellow countrymen. There are people doing that at the president. Don't fear to tell it here on this TV. Wesonga, you have seen people there that when they hear that the president is going to talk, they start even drawing his pictures to say, fellow countrymen. And now, they even predict. So, but in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Magufuli, in Rwanda, who is imitating Kagame?
Nobody.
Where imitating Kagame by COVID?
Even in Tanzania, Dr. Matanga, if you do that, we have a comedian who tried to ridicule President Magufuli and he went to jail.
Here we have a man called, the comedian called Omondi. If he goes to ridicule the president, he's not ridiculing the president on a good sense of humor.
Yes.
He's ridiculing the president on a bad thing, which is killing Kenya.
Yes. And that's why.
What does the comedian teach us? Yeah.
And Dr. Matsanga, that has contributed to the concept that the Kenyans are showing even to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it has made Kenyans look at key government agendas as mediocre, because whenever government comes up with a plan, these people go to the social media and start making ridicule about it. And that is what creates public perception. And even right now, Kenyans are not serious about COVID-19 because the people who came out claiming to be sick, we had the ODM youth leader Benson Musungu, who was critically ill, but when he came on social media, people ridiculed him. We had Burale. He was sick, and people could see that. But because these perceptions that people, the mediocrity that we have on social media, no one believes the story is true.
It's not the mediocrity. It is the mindset we have. It is the bad manners we have.
Yes.
It is the media and the panel. They speak the truth.
Yes, Dr. Masanga.
No, wait, discipline has collapsed. You explained to me how the comedian earns money by ridiculing the disease. And all of you Kenyans pay to go and see this guy. And he's ridiculing the president, how he talks about corona. We don't mind him ridiculing the president, how he addresses a political rally. But the disease, what lessons do you learn from Omondi when he rebukes the president and puts videos in YouTube to earn a living? What do you learn from it? It is belittlement. You are belittled. The message is watered, diluted. I don't see any message. There are those comedians who used to believe, to follow, to imitate Arab Moi. They used to give some sense of humor.
Yes. And
not on death. Corona is death. Kifo. You cannot imitate it and leave it that way. So time has come for the law to change. In Uganda, they have not had. I bargained with somebody this morning, and I believe he's watching. I told him Uganda has not had any death. Isn't it true, Miriam? Mm-hmm. Not a single Ugandan has died as a result of coronavirus. And I told this man, he argued with me. I said, give me 50,000 shillings once you find. He has disappeared. He has disappeared. As soon as I finish, I'm looking for my 50,000 shillings. Because he goes on arguing over things that he cannot deliver. So this time, 50,000 shillings, give it to me. I told him, since Uganda started, this is 4 months, going to 5 months, nobody has died of corona. And we have only 56 or 46 cases left.
56. Mm.
So, the discipline. There is another aspect that I want to bring to you, Miriam, before as you come in, wrap it up, to come in with it.
But I want to reinforce your point before you wrap it up.
Yes.
Time has come, Dr. Masanga and my fellow panelists and my fellow viewers, for the government to act ruthlessly when it comes to coronavirus. There is a time Michuki said, if you rat a snake, it will rattle you.
To bite you.
There is a time he said the government can remove you all the teeth and it tells you go and report. So what we need to do that we are not going to persuade people. The president has done good, but he has not done good enough. The president has got what we call executive powers when it comes to protecting lives of Kenyans. I remember again, I like quoting Kibaki in 2003. Tuju used executive orders to take KICC from Kanu. So the president used to give executive orders that if you are not complying with this, you need not even to amend with the law. This is a question of life and death, and time has come the CS for internal security to act ruthlessly, like the rights of Omondi who are not taking this coronavirus serious. We are not going to plead with people or persuade them.
Thank you very much. We have Mr. Jasper Odim. The production team asked him for the number. Quickly, he wants to join the debate. That's the type of life we want now. He has a point which is burning. Mr. Jasper Odim, he wants to join the debate on Zoom. Let him give you the number, production team. Bring him on board. That's the way we want to be doing our things on Punchline. Bring him on board. Bring him on board. Is it the law that is bringing us down? Why are we indisciplined? Why are we following the same thing when we used to arrest thieves, corruption during Muchuki? What has gone wrong? Matatu people fill the cars. Then when they reach the police, they remove the passengers. And the same passenger who's going to suffer of COVID-19 walks ahead, waits for the matatu. What went wrong?
Good question.
Yes.
Can I add my voice?
Go ahead, boss, you are on the panel. I don't know why you're asking to add the way. You are on the panel.
There is a point Professor raised, and it's very important. The concept of public arrest. I think it's time we embrace that particular concept and even escalate it to the extent whereby even members of the public can arrest police officers who are taking bribes, police officers who are sleeping on their job. So it's just time we embrace that particular concept. Another thing you guys raised, and I'm in tandem with it, is you guys were asking about why have we lost our moral fabric? People can go and make fun of the CS or of health. I think our come so much of age that we are steadily losing our moral fabric. I think stringent measures should be taken against such individuals in the social media. Yeah, this is just them, and we should not be brilliant about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Miriam, you have been listening. Where did we go wrong?
Where did we go wrong? Perhaps this one thing, because now the strategy the government has been using has not been very effective. So now the government has to go back to the drawing board and see which route did they take that has taken us and got us to where we are today. And can they go back and see which one can we now take to ensure that this fight against COVID-19 remains very effective. So now, one thing, I think this will be the most effective strategy, and that is leaving no one behind. And as we look at Kenyans and their behavior, they don't feel as though they are part of this process. They don't feel involved. They don't feel like it's their problem. They think this is government's business. They don't care. So they're not part of. And so if they're not part of, and we know if we were to win the war against COVID-19, we have a bigger responsibility. The government can just do as much, can offer the testing, can offer the information, but we have a bigger responsibility to ensure that we are safe and the people around us are safe. So leaving nobody behind is very important. And I think it will be the most effective strategy that should this be implemented in a way and bring everybody on board and make Kenyans feel like they're part of the process. And when Mutahi Kagwe is standing there and giving this information, he's not speaking, at us, but we are, he's speaking with us, and so we are part of this thing that is quite important. And by doing this, when issues are being raised by, say, this Lancet, laboratories who have been carrying out tests, and when we have this conflicting information coming out there, the trust that Kenyans have even to go to and have these tests, it's going to be diminished, and we shall see very few people even wanting to go and have their tests. So government should come in very, very quickly and address these matters like this when they arise. And the other thing is addressing the misinformation we see out there. We saw, and Daniel has brought up that point of this ODM youth leader who was critically sick, went to the hospital, was tested for COVID-19, gone through the whole treatment, and he came out, and I saw the news item over the weekend in one of the leading TV stations here in the country, and you'd see when he was in the hospital, a lot of young people especially were sending him messages telling him, hey, boss, I know right now you're very rich, you have so much money because the government has paid you to act as if you're sick. So you can see the misinformation. You can see that there are a lot of Kenyans who still don't feel as though this COVID is here with us, who don't think this is a problem that can get them because they don't know somebody who has died from COVID-19, somebody who has contracted them. So the strategy, I think, that will be effective for the Kenyan government to fight, COVID-19 and to win this war is ensuring that nobody is left behind. But as we speak right now, a lot of Kenyans have not joined in this war, the fight against COVID-19. We have still so many people who have been left behind. So how can we bring them on board? I think this will only be the winning strategy should it be implemented, and we find a way of bringing everybody on board and for Kenyans to own this process.
I can't add extra word there. We have a problem. One thing I want to say, we have a problem. As the moderator, I have a problem with the type of morals and discipline that people have. We have all lost our morals. The fabric is decayed. When we are told to move left, we move right. When we are told to move right, we move left. When we are told to move south, we move north. And we bring politics in each and everything. As we speak now, there are people distributing food on their own, as if they are not in Kenya, as if Kenya is in another planet. We have left this hoi hoi attitude. I don't know whether you know, you are Kiswahili people, hoi hoi. So now, there is some hoi hoi attitude in the middle of the government, where there is fear, not to say, this man should not do this. Where has that thing gone? Where has that act gone? Where Kenyans stood up and stopped the matatu, said, stop the car here. You are overcharging. Have you seen that scenario? Imagine that scenario on Kenyatta Avenue. Stop the car. You know, even the driver will be shocked. And the rest of the passengers will say, yes, stop it. Where you are overcharging us? And mnashika conductor inje, simama hapa. How much money did you charge us? Driver endesha gari anawacha conductor hapa. So the conductor will show us where the driver is. That matatu license taken out. Time has come for that. Even in Britain, people arrest you for corruption. In Britain, people report you. If they hear your child crying too many times every night, and they're saying, I'm help, someone will report you. That the police better checks in that house. There's a small baby who cries the whole night and cries for help. Maybe someone is killing some people in that house. Tomorrow, you will see the police coming very quietly at the door and knock to say, we would like to talk to you a bit, sir. While the one is talking to you, the other one is talking to the children. And whatever the children are telling the policeman, the other policeman is not telling you. So what they get from the children, if you have told the other policeman a lie, they just say, we have arrested you, and we are taking the children to the social workers because you beat them every day. We are very sorry. And so people fear to beat their children. We Africans, when we went there, we used to hold big sticks. Tunagonga watoto usiku. Na mgonga kabisa. In fact, we used to have this habit of running with the kids in the compound. Unamupiga, unaonesha huko baba wa nyumbani. We used to beat wives. Unapiga bibi yako, unatoka nje hata mna wrestle in the compound, thinking this is Africa. Watu watacheka, unashikwa. Tena bibi, nyumba hiyo huwezi kuingia. The court will give you an order not to step 500 meters near that house. Yako ulinunua na cash. Haki ya Mungu, it is the law. So, the laws here, Miriam is correct. The laws here have also pressed us towards bad behavior. We brought this topic of COVID-19 to teach some of the things we are talking now. Maybe the minister Mutahi Kagwe and his team can pick some of the things we are suggesting on this show. We are suggesting some drastic laws that can be made by Parliament. We are suggesting a good communication strategy. We are suggesting Kenyans to take not the law in their hands, but take responsibility in their hands. We are not telling Kenyans to go and beat each other. We are telling Kenyans that when you see a person entering a supermarket without washing the hands, tell him come back and wash the hands. If he makes noise at you, call Askari, say this man should not even buy any commodity. In fact, you will be a hero. I have done that before. I'm always a hero.
So do I.
I have done that before. I went to my Baba, another Indian man who is powerful. They call him powerful. He came and sat, no mask, no what? I said, my friend, wear a mask or get out.
Yes.
He said, who are you? I said, don't ask me who I am. I am my protector of my life.
Amen.
Wear a mask or get out. And I thought it's a joke. I said, get out. You know, with my body, this body mask. I stood up. I said, get out. And that's Matanga for you. Miriam, if you didn't know, that's how I act. Never ask Wesonga. Never mess with me when something is going to kill people. The Indian thought it was a joke. I said, get out. I switched off the man who was going to do what? Who was going to cut the Indian hair. This is the truth I'm telling you now. They now respect me in that saloon. When I come, it's earthquake. It's like an earthquake has arrived. They respect me. The Indian man said, who are you? What? I said, don't even ask me one question. The minister said, only 3 people at a go. Yes. And for you, sir, whether you have money, whether you have industry, whether I don't care, damn, get out. That's a citizen. I said, get out. People supported me because there were some Indians, friends who were waiting outside. This man came and because he has money, stood no mask, then he's doing, I said, no way, get out.
No, but I think that is the norm that we should inculcate in our people. And Kenyans have to realize that for every right in the Bill of Rights, we do have a responsibility. And when we partake such actions that ensure that the goodwill of other citizens are taken into considerations, then we undoubtedly be exercising our responsibilities as per the Constitution. And that is what a majority of us need to do.
You need it. We cannot wait. The man stood out under his car. You know, he has a powerful Range Rover. It came, and the driver came, then he looked at me and said, what will you do? I said, until they finish me here. Cut me, I am observing everything. You can't come here, you are coughing. You want to create me a problem? No way. Then that's when he came back, humbled. Oh, I'm sorry. I pulled out my card. Yes. I said, I now know who you are. I'm coming to your industry tomorrow to take a story. I am an investigative journalist. Not only in Kenya, but in the Commonwealth. In the Commonwealth, entire world, even the 10 Downing Street does not stop me. Who are you? 10 Downing Street, where Johnson is, I go. I am on the list. On the list. When they say journalists, there is a press conference. This black Mugisu from mountains is there. I can go as a Commonwealth journalist. My ID is here. Who are you? That you, when I pulled that card, the man started begging me. I said, I'm going to call the police because you have committed a crime, not wearing a mask, coming coughing us here with your morning breath and making us sick. These men have come to collect 200 shillings, 500 shillings per person they cut. They have families at home. You want to bring a disease here. Kenyans needed to work like that. Miriam has told us on several occasions she goes to the supermarket and she has seen people touching trolley and nobody supports her. Even the workers there. I asked the question yesterday with the panel. How many people have you found outside the supermarket refuse to enter to buy food? It means all Kenyans have the same temperature. No, honestly, do we all have the same temperature? I have not found anybody at the door of any of these places stopped from going inside that facility because the temperature is high.
Dr. Matsanga, in any case where someone has been picked from a supermarket because they were found out that maybe perhaps the temperature was not, so they were taken for testing. There's no such a case. Everyone enters. Like this, I don't know. It's a mess, Dr. Matsanga. And I think as a country, I think we lapsed on that.
Miriam and the panel and the rest of you.
Dr. Matsanga, let me just reinforce.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me just reinforce your point. The president has said that we should be our brother's keepers. You and Miriam, you are doing extremely very well, and that is the way Kenyans should do, so that you can be able to protect others. I personally, you know, I'm a chaplain and I know how to educate and I know how to harass you in a smooth way. You see here, I have got masks which I work with. Should I find you that you are wearing a dirty one, I presuppose that the other one you have, maybe you don't have one. I said you are supposed to wash your mask or have a clean one. And if I find you are not wearing, I stop you, I ask you, why are you not wearing the mask? Don't you know you are supposed to have one? And then you will find someone very emotive. And if you don't have one, I give you one. Many times I know, let me know, this was the things which people don't know. You know, smoking in public is a crime. You find someone walking in public and is smoking, stop him, tell him, excuse me, you are not supposed to smoke in public. You will see that person becoming very apologetic and they will never repeat again. So time has come, Dr. Matsanga, that we have to go out of our way and educate our fellow Kenyans. We are not going to say ourselves, let Kenyans be in charge. I have liked the way Wesonga said, or Samson, that we have got rights, but rights must come with responsibilities. Absolutely. We must be very responsible and we must take action.
Thank you very much. And one of the things you are talking about, the cigarettes, before Samson comes in. Miriam, I am the first person in the United Kingdom, and I got an award from Croydon Borough, the London Borough of Croydon, awarded me a certificate for having been the first man to refuse cigarettes in my nightclub. Anybody who has gone to my club, Club 791 in London, on London Road, Thornton Heath, you don't joke with Matsanga. You don't. People who are watching me, who know me from London, you know me. You don't smoke in my place. Never even in my house. You don't smoke one bit of cigarette in my house. Whether you are my daughter, you are my son, you are my wife, you are the best girlfriend on planet Earth. We party ways. I got an award from Croydon Police for having been one of the only people. Ask Wachikoya. Professor Wachikoya was my bouncer on my nightclub. He's not ashamed to tell you so. He worked for me as a bouncer. And he got money to go and go to school in the evening together with me on the same train. And when on weekends, he works in my place. We never allowed smoking on the floor. Jamaicans used to come. I take the cigarette from them, throw them out. You know, the one thing that has given me the way is this way. You have to wait twice before you come for me. To come back to say you want to do what, I'll do it. And I show you, get out of my club, get out. How much money did you pay for the beer? 5 pounds. Here, 5 pounds, get out of my club. I don't want to see you ever here. And I've marked you on the CCTV. Croydon Council gave me an award. And after that, 1 year passed. This is 1998. Jamen, nawambia ya hatu. The following year, Croydon Council in the whole London, the whole United Kingdom, brought the law. And the mayor of Croydon came to say, thank you. You initiated the law. Had I been right, Robinson White, I would go in the books to get a medal from Her Majesty the Queen. I was selected by my committee. But then I started defending this man called Mugabe. You see where I spoiled my things. That's where I spoiled my life. When I started defending Mugabe against sanctions in London, the man whom they have chosen, the whole borough was very happy. You know how many customers I received? Wazungu who wanted to come with their lives, with their wives and had their children to enjoy music, African music. They come during the time, the restaurant, the African cassava with ribs. I'm one of the experts of African cassava with ribs. And the Bazungu used to like that. So I'm giving this example to the people of Kenya that professors just brought it. We have a habit of smoking. I also work with, ask any of my people, I work with 20 of these, always in my car. Always, when I see a problem, there are people who might not afford to buy this.
That's correct.
And let's be honest, this television is educative. It's for the community. It is to help the government. Work with this where possible. Have a heart. That's what the Uhuru is saying. Have a heart. If you see somebody cannot afford, look at the person, might not afford to have this. Stop the car or he comes to you. Most of them come to me to town. Doctor, we see you on TV. I said, here, 5 of these. That's 500 shillings. 5 of these, wear the mask first. In fact, the person who, there were some who wanted to come and ask for money. You know what they did? They just said, Asante sana in your kit. Yes.
That's the way to go.
I want to tell you, Miriam and the panel, I can leave my car in the central Nairobi and the boys, those boys will sit on it until the following morning. Even the thieves will not touch it. I'm telling you one secret today. They know, it looks like they know my car. Everywhere, when I park on Koinange Lane, when I come out of the shop, do you know how many people I find on the car? 12, 20, 15. All of them saying, Mzee. These are the ones who are now building the city with the Major General body. Yes. we are saying here, Miriam, is the spirit that President Uhuru Kenyatta said, be a friend to your people, to your neighbor. Educate him. Find out what the problem is.
Yes.
Report where necessary. That saloon, I am now respected. Barber shop, I'm the most respected man. Even the owner, when I say I'm coming, he makes sure that all the people get out fast. The guy is coming. Not fear, but they know discipline. And I walk. I want to tell you one thing. Me and this, we work together. I have my big thing, which I use on every place. I'm not relying on the hotel. I'm not relying on the table. I'm not relying on what Kempinski has sprayed. Because some workers work overnight and they want to go home. They miss spraying. So Miriam, in essence, as we come to the second topic before we finalize, the second topic is this. All the statements I want to leave, I can see the Kisumu man is eager with some information. Give us the information.
Yes, Dr. You will agree with that there is a serious disconnect between the citizens and the knowledge about their rights and, of course, responsibility. It's something that we really need to change. I want to share in the sentiments of our good prof that we really need to be our brother's keeper, and as such, we should not wait for the government to do everything for us. We all need to be proactive and assist the government. And I finally assure you that ours will be the best time and the best county to live in. Thank you.
Okay, disconnect. Miriam, you picked that point. There's a disconnect between the rights and
the responsibilities.
The responsibility.
And, of course, Dr. Matsanga, even in the Kenyan perspective, when activists are speaking about yes, when the activists are speaking about human rights, they never talk about the responsibilities. As a citizen, what are you expected as a good citizen to do for your country in supporting the agenda of the country? So I think Samson is very right in his sentiments. We speak too much about rights without giving enough play for the responsibilities also. But these are things that ought to go hand in hand.
Okay. Another thing, finally, before we close and Miriam brings in our resolutions, we are running out of time. When you see Mutahi Kagwe and the team come, do you see hope? Question to all. Let me begin with Miriam first, because you rewind up. Do you see hope when they come?
But I think right
now they are about to address. They are addressing. Do you see hope? Even if we have not got the medicine, but do you see hope?
I think there is a bit of hope, but as it is right now, we know we are not at a good place as a country, and I think information is power, so we need that information that is being given by the Ministry of Health through Mutahi Kagwe. But whatever we see him, we know it's not any good news, and Kenyans, I think, have become so complacent, so they don't even care anymore. I remember when they started announcing this, making these daily announcements, people would literally rush home to sit down and listen to what Mutahi Kagwe has to say, or the information he has to give for the day. But right now, Kenyans, that attitude, they don't care anymore. It's back to business. COVID is there, so what? But I know when we see Mutahi Kagwe, certainly we're not looking forward to any good news. We know whatever is going to bring forth is something that, the numbers and the figures and the deaths. So, but I think at the end of it all, there is some hope at the end of the tunnel. So Kenyans must play their part in making sure that the hope is kept alive, and also we're able to beat COVID-19.
So the hope is still alive, according to you. Prof.
Yes. In fact, I want to be very, very honest as possible. When we began the first few days, Kenyans were very optimistic and they were following. Now Kenyans don't follow, they are not even interested to know what is happening. So when people have reached that point, Dr. Masanga and the panel, they have lost hope. And that's why we are saying we need to change the strategy, and the strategy must be changed. This more time we need to do mass campaign, create awareness, tell people, have all people to do with people who counsel people right now. It has become a very issue that if you have tested COVID-19, you are stigmatized. People don't want to get associated with you. So more what people need to know is people need counseling. People need to be supported. That's how I look at it. But to be very honest, with the people I feel around, nobody even is following what Mutahi Kagwe is doing.
Yes. Samson from Kisumu. Do you see hope?
In my view, I believe there is hope. Looking at the speed and the vigor with which the new CS operating, giving Kenyans hope all the time, telling us that we shall come out of it stronger than ever, at least gives me some bit of hope as a citizen. Also, the issue of the cartels that have been crippling the health ministry, looking at how he really tries to work things out, I think at the end of the day we shall be somewhere safer than where we are right now.
Yes, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dr. Matsanga, I think this is a topic that we have discussed before. And one thing that we previously agreed on is that we need to have some kind of fatigue management. We need to bring some new energy on the way they present these daily updates. And for sure, right now, whenever Mutahi Kagwe comes to address Kenyans, they know the obvious, they know the usual script that they use, they know the figures that they're going to give. So it's so obvious, and people don't have much expectation in those in the updates. So we need to change that. We need to rebrand the kind of message that comes to people so that perhaps if it does not give hope, but let it be also informative rather than just giving out mere statistics that do not make sense to majority of Kenyans. So that is what the ministry needs to do going forward.
Okay, I want to shock you. For me, before I hand it over, I come back to Miriam. I want to tell you that the type of hope I'm looking for is not the type of hope you people are looking. And ask me why. The type of hope I'm looking for is for the committee of Mutahi Kagwe to come with 5 or 20 professors to tell me there is hope for vaccine. Mumesikia mzee?
Oh, yes.
Mama wangu na wazee, mumesikia? I am not, your hope is yours, you have it. But there is no hope here. Every day we are being told, like the papers that Miriam is arranging in the studio, the madam is going to arrive this afternoon with a dossier to read for us. Other countries that I have watched 26 countries, including Britain, when they are giving their press conference on COVID-19. They tell you how far they have gone with their scientists.
Yes.
How close they are
to having diagnostically. Can I say the Ugandan English? Diagnostically. How far
have you? Ulikumpi, uko karibu, utafika lini? That's hope. I think we are together. That's the hope we are looking for. The hope of a vaccine. Are we very far? You are not going to put us in a stress every day. Stress. Another day. Stress. Another day. Stress. That's why people are getting fed up. Miriam, you are looking for the reasons. Ours, we are not condemning what Mutahi Kagwe is doing. If he's very clever, take our notes. People are not very amused with the lady reading an essay. We are not students in class. We are human beings who are coughing. Mark you, we are human beings who are coughing. We are human beings who have got to pay 5,000 shillings in order to, if you don't have it, then you will not be tested. Have you seen my angle?
Yes, we are together there.
Are you people seeing my angle? If you don't have 5,000 shillings, Miriam, you don't work. Where will you get the 5,000 shillings? How will you not die? What's the option? What's the hope? Where's the hope? What is it? The hope would be, if I don't have 5,000 shillings, and I eat mangoes, oranges, pineapple, and I don't have any other ailment on my body or inside. Now they have brought another tactic that the lady was reading a medical technique yesterday. You heard what she read, that what something. Can you tell me the difference, asthmatic or symptomatic?
Asymptomatic.
Yeah. That the disease is not only asthmatic or symptomatic. Or these things, do they please a human being? The person watching on KBC, because Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, TVs everywhere, almost every corner, they are listening. You are telling us, what? That now this is not respiratory. It doesn't touch on the respiratory lungs. What? It goes for some other things. That is not hope. That is stress.
Correct.
You must take people out of stress. When Moses was faced with problems, he did not come with stories every day. He kept, there's a time when people even just said, Mister, we are fed up. God said, oh, are they saying like that? Okay, let them wait for my wrath. And they sent the wrath. You know, the children of Israel suffered for several years. Hunger was everywhere. Wasn't it in the Bible that they sent, the angels came and marked some houses and the rest of the people were killed? You remember that, Chamberlain?
Yes.
So,
the ground open, swallowed them.
Yes. So where is the hope? If you look at what I wrote this morning, and I always use reference, students watching this subject of COVID-19, one thing somebody will never defeat you is when you have put something in black and white. You can never be challenged easily. Someone trying to challenge you, it goes to reference. And I've said here, this is what I've said. Kenyans must maintain the needed discipline in order to overcome the challenges. The Kenyan government or Ministry of Health must look at their strategy or project management tactics that might have changed or need to be changed urgently. If there is a gap to be filled, how can we fill this gap and help to stop COVID-19? But the most important thing is Kenyans need to hear new terms like vaccine development. And how far is Kenya on this journey? That's hope. If Mutai Kagwe this afternoon comes with such news that our scientists are very close to tutakuwa na aspirin by October, you will see how things will change. Even the numbers will go down. Umeona? Two, the other factor is diagnostic trends that show how far the government has invested in this field. We don't have them. Do you have them?
No.
Apart from being told that Kwale 1, this one Kwale, that 22, 3, 4, 5, and then in Mombasa, Chorolyo, Wadiajo, Yodidiaja, Kwisha. Strategy must change. Give people hope. Another thing is the viral treatment. Are we going to have viral treatment? Are we looking in the future to have viral treatment like HIV? Because to me it looks like this disease is going to become endemic. If it is silent in Tanzania, if it is silent in Malawi, if it has not killed a single person in Uganda, don't you think it could become like a malaria? Don't you think so? There is no malaria in Zimbabwe. Even if you sleep naked, they finish the mosquitoes. Miriam, mosquitoes, zoo, finished in Zimbabwe. And when you enter a plane going to Zimbabwe, they spray it inside, so that you don't carry mosquitoes to there. They are like a British. So, why don't we think about the viral treatment ahead? This is the hope that I expect the committee of Mr. Kagwe to bring it to us in our humble request, so that we give confidence. We know the numbers are going to surge, but from the beginning of the last 2 hours we have been here, there are so many things that we have suggested, Miriam. You have been our secretary on the bench. And some of them, you have picked them verbally. Madam, I hand you over this honor to summarize what the government can do. Yes, Oromba, before Miriam comes in. Switch off, switch on, switch off, and unmute, yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. for your statement. It has challenged me. You know, I had a different kind of definition of the hope you are talking about. And that begs the question, what is the role of our research centers? What are they doing? The role of university, medicine students, whatever. That is very, very important, and it will spark up some hope in the citizen, and they will have a different kind of angle in thinking. Thank you.
Exactly. What's the role of our research? What centers? What's the role of our university professors?
Yes, the medicine professors that we have.
The men who work here, who come only when there is a crisis. Where are they? Where are the Professor Onyaris of medicine? Where are they? Miriam, it is a sad scenario. It's a sad scenario that they have left the ministry, that the minister is the only PR man, that the minister cries that there are sharks, mafia upstairs here. He even used the head to say up here, there is a problem. So the ball is back in your court. We as the panel, we have done our best. Madam, as Wesonga takes I haven't seen the clip. The usual clip hasn't come to me, Wesonga.
Okay.
As Wesonga takes it, I want us to hear our resolutions tonight.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sorry, not tonight, this afternoon. It could be tonight in Australia or South America. I don't know, under Britain.
Yes.
No, not Britain, America. Yes.
All right, so a lot of issues have come up, but a few of them has stuck up, and I think has been, the string of this conversation since we started, and just trying to find ways in which we can give suggestions to the government and how they can re-strategize and find solutions that will be effective, because so far the strategy that is being used, we can all agree, has not been the most effective. So what else can the government do, and through the Ministry of Health, to ensure that COVID-19 has been brought under control in Kenya? And the first thing I think that has come out very, very importantly is the government has to change the strategy and the manner in which it is communicating to the people of Kenya. And Professor Onyari there has suggested mass campaigning, and in this perhaps we can bring all Kenyans on board, because as it is right now, Kenyans don't think this is a problem that should concern them, majority of them. And also the thing that has come up very, very importantly there is the rights and responsibilities. And as much as Kenya, we enjoy the democratic space that we have that has come with it, the freedom of speech, this is not the time to make light of an issue like COVID-19. This is a matter of life and death. So even as comedians like Omondi that we see making all these funny clips, as much as we encourage free speech and comedy and all that in Kenya, that's okay, but this is not the time to joke about this matter. And when a lot of people, especially these young people who don't even take this thing very seriously, when they watch this, they think this is another comedy. This is another thing that the government is trying to impose on us. I think this is not the time, and this he chooses on the wrong topic, and he should consider. So rights must come with responsibility, and he should be using his platform to encourage more young people to act responsibly and to adhere to these measures, and not just criticizing or making light of the CS for health and also President Kenyatta when it comes to COVID-19. So I think we should discourage making light of something very, very important and very, very serious that has taken so many lives, not just in Kenya, but also across the world. And something else, the government must ensure that our hospitals are well equipped during this time, even as the counties are preparing and ensuring for an upside, which we have all agreed that is inevitable. It is going to happen after 21 days. We shall see numbers that perhaps we've not seen before. I'm not a medical officer, but from behavior that we've been seeing among Kenyans, I think that will be inevitable. So in doing this, the government must fast track the procurement for immediate health needs. We don't want to see the situation that you're seeing in Pumwani Health. Now about 40 of them have tested positive for COVID-19. They're being exposed. If all our health workers will stay in their homes and go on a strike because they don't feel protected, then we shall lose this war against COVID-19. So government must do something to ensure our health workers are protected and are safe. And also something else that we have, I think Professor Nyari and the rest of us, since yesterday we've talked about. Now we must get the police involved. We don't see the police beating people or committing extrajudicial killings, but I think at this point we need the police to enforce the social distancing measure in public, because Kenyans obviously are not paying attention to that. So we need the law to come in as the law enforcers to ensure that Kenyans are able to adhere with these measures when they are out there in public. And something else also that has come out, the government must come out and address the issue of misinformation, this Lancet thing and other misinformation that surrounds COVID-19. The government has to come out and give some clarity so that Kenyans can continue trusting the process and can be encouraged to be part of the process. And what else? There has to be intense engagement, of course, with community health workers if at all we were to win this war on COVID-19. So, Doctor, these are just a few of the things that I was able to pick up during this conversation.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and thank you very much, all of you, for we have done our best. We have suggested some things that the government can do and not do. There are some things that in PR they can improve, but the reality remains in our discipline. The key point that you have mentioned in our summary is the discipline, our discipline. Is there something that the ministry wants us to say and shout it out, call it out? Is there something missing? There's something missing. When Kwale, which is closer to Tanzania and Taveta, have almost no patient, then there must be something that we must focus on instead of running around without looking at the root cause. Are there new causes? Is there a place we can zero on? Can we do a mandatory? Can we do voluntary? What is stopping people from going to be checked? Is it the 5,000 bob? Isn't it the 5,000 shillings?
1,000.
Eh?
I think it's 1,000.
5,000.
It was reduced to 1,000 bob.
And if you're going for mass testing, then it's free, the one the government is providing.
Yes, whatever it is, even if it is 1,000, there are people out there who budget that 1,000 for 1 week.
True.
They will not go for any testing. Can the government consider scrapping any fee on these things? These are suggestions our show, our television suggests. It is not that we are telling or condemning the government. No, we are trying to tell the government that we are on the social media. We hear what the people say from the social media point of view. Yes, and the point of Omondi, you have emphasized it very clearly. This is not a play. You can make a play. This is a disease, and the children who love you don't make money on YouTube by making death more. Make money on YouTube by reducing death. That's the message for Omondi. Watch us here. Kama ako na anything to argue with us, let him come. What can he do? Let him know that there are some jokes you can make, but not the type of jokes. It's like yesterday I wrote a piece where people were mocking the sickness of the former prime minister. You saw that very well. People were writing about the treatment of the former prime minister in Dubai. Why do you... Disease is disease. We should learn to respect that every human being can be sick. We should avoid this behavior of talking about disease and mocking those who are in hospitals. And the people who are writing these things are people who claim to have worked in State House, like Echumbi. Why do you write such things about the former Prime Minister? What did you gain? What about you? If tomorrow you are stuck, who will write about you? A few days, weeks, months ago, you were put in jail. People were even celebrating. So don't you change your behavior? So the discipline, mindset, change with Miriam to have summarized. Panel, I just want to give you half a minute each, strictly half a minute, to say bye-bye to the audience and to wait for the diaspora dispatches. And 4 p.m. East African Standard Time, Matsanga Africa Perspective, breaking news. I'm going to bring breaking news at 4 p.m. Do you remember this day called 15th of the day 15th of June of July, the year of our Lord in 1998? What happened? The formation of International Criminal Court. Today is a great day for me. That one of my nemesis is wrapping her skirts and the sweaters, skirt, blouse, sijui nini na nini. She's going. So Professor Nyari, if you are available at 4, you will not want to miss this. This is the most exciting day for this gentleman called Dr. David Matsanga, the Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. Her term of office, I'm going to buy a champagne. I'll toast it. Her term of office, and that champagne is on the account of Wesonga. Any Kenyan who would like, and I repeat, any Kenyan who would like to buy me a champagne today can send that champagne on my number. Today is the end of the Chief Prosecutor's tenure of office. The African Queen slumbers to discomfort with a summons waiting at her home in Hampstead, in house number 238, Hampstead Road. Hallelujah, Matsanga. Today, I have won a battle that I will show you today at 4 p.m. East African Standard Time. That's the battle. That's the battle. That is the battle. From the day I started in 2005, standing against this infamous court, my heart is going to rest nicely today. So Wesonga and the others, those who want to wish me good luck, and the Miriam, of course, she will be there to stand side by side with me while I toast from very far distance. You are miles and miles away, Miriam. But where I am a very happy person. Today, the queen of bonanza, of comedy, of drama, exists. She exits the scene of International Criminal Court. Thank you very much. God bless me. I want to give you half a minute each to say what you want to say. Half a minute. Start with Oromba. Say your things. If you pass 30 seconds, I cut you off.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for the time. As I said before, we are deeply in the hole, and because we are in the hole, we need to stop digging. We need to assist the government. We need to embrace the general behavior change in a bid to win this particular menace. And I wish Kenyans a safe stay over this particular pandemic period. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much for keeping time. Yes, Daniel.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matsanga, Professor Gerald Onyari, Alomba, Miriam, and our dear viewers across the country. Of course, we have discussed a number of very important issues, and this show has been always the brainchild of such issues that could turn around the state of our healthcare sector, as well as governance in this country. And therefore, my greatest wish is that those who are concerned about these sectors should take notes and be able to put it into consideration so that together we can be able to effectively combat the pandemic and ensure that we... Thank you.
Professor Nyali.
Thank you, Dr. Masanga and the panelists. This was a great show, a great topic for the good of our country, and my urge is to ask the government to implement and change tactics on strong strategies, because there is no return to the old. And to the Kenyans, let us stay home, let us go out when it is necessary, let us avoid crowded places, let us keep social distance, let us wash our hands, and let us avoid touching the nose, mouth, and eyes. Thank you.
Finally, back to Miriam.
Let the government work on having everyone on board. That is the only way that we shall win the fight against COVID-19.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Mrs. Sama. Have everybody on board. I think the policy is being punctured. You are right. Someone is puncturing this policy. What a good summary. What a good summary. A divided house cannot heal one wound, but a united house heals several wounds that come on the body. If the body is not functioning in one part, medicine cannot reach the other part. I want to thank all of you for having participated in this panel. We started late, but we compensated with another 30 minutes in the other half. We want to wish Miriam a good journey in diaspora dispatches this afternoon. Because you have done very well, I will come to help you in the last 30 minutes when you are finished anchoring the rest, to answer anything, to add some salt to what you have already said, and put there good food for people to eat in Africa. I therefore thank you very much, all of you, Kisumu, Professor Onyari. Thank you very much for sparing your time and for adding these flags every day on your wall. These flags of Britain, America, then Kenya in the middle. I am becoming very envious that you add Uganda in the also on the wall.
Consider it done.
So thank you very much. I think you better add the AU flag and the East African flag. Then the Uganda one, we shall keep quiet. But thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for being very straightforward. Let's look forward to another 3 debates. The Superior Dispatches at 3. It's a very good show that you don't need to miss. Then we have Either we shall switch diplomatic leaks. We shall have diplomatic leaks at 8. But at 4 or 6, I don't know whether I should do 6 or 4, depending on where you can get the audience. Matanga Africa perspective. We shall discuss with the production team. Then 8 o'clock, the Nile that flows with crocodiles has found a dam that spares no crocodiles. The Ethiopian dam, I think, Miriam, this topic could have been done during the time. It will be very, very massive. Very massive. You know, Egypt has declared war now. Since yesterday, Ethiopia started filling this dam. I don't know how deep they dug this hole, but this hole, Jermaine, is big. The water has been filling and it is not yet full. So please, I think Egypt has some point here. It is going to fill for the whole week. So was this dam dug in? How? So this whole week, their swamp will not have power. Irrigation systems will collapse that side. I don't know. God help us. The dam is causing problems. The war between Sudan, Egypt, and will suck in Kenya, Uganda, and the other countries along the River Nile basin. Thank you very much. 8 o'clock, we meet. 4 o'clock, Matanga. Dispatches 3 p.m. Katonda, Mungu, abariki sana sana. Asante sana.
Very well.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.